The thing that agents tend to want to farm out the most are the things that we really do need to hang on to. And that's the business development side of it.
Buckle up. It's the Insurance Dudes podcast.
So for a realtor, where does that number lie? Where does it become where now you have to bring on that team?
Yeah, I mean, that's an excellent question. And I think the answer varies depending on the agent, right? So we have agents that comfortably do gross $1 million a year that are single agents, which means like they have a staff. I'm not quite there yet, but that's that's the mission, right?
Yeah.
And so it's entirely scalable to just be a rainmaker and be an agent and have a staff around you that are sort of helping, right? So there may not be a limit to that, but there definitely is a limit to how much you can do and not have any support staff, right? So that staff can be, it could be other agents that are helping, with the showings, or it could be like me with, just more administrative support so that I'm the one that's out in the field and doing the contract negotiations and that sort of thing. So right now, that really is our game plan. It's much easier to grow if you do have a staff of agents, but I don't know what it's like for you guys, but sometimes it's a little challenging to, at least at where I am right now, 5 years in, for me, it's a little bit challenging to really have to impart the same level of service that my clients are. I can't let go of my clients, so I get a referral because they know and love me. And then I'm just going to hand them off to this other person that they've never met before. So I guess I have control issues. Maybe that's it.
I think that's one of the most challenging things in business ownership, letting go of those reins, where it's like, okay, I'm at this point where I'm at capacity. I can handle the herd right now, but in order to take it to that next level, I'm going to have to give. I mean, there was a time when I was answering the calls, I was taking payments and doing all these things. And now it's like, it's impossible. Right.
Yeah.
And it just changes the business model. But
it does. And so I'm a planner, and I have to be because I'm not naturally organized. So I have to plan everything because otherwise balls are going to drop. So I've had my 2022 business plan ready since like the end of September. So it is locked in and ready to go. And so I know what I'm going to do in 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025. I know what the plan is all the way down the road. So I know how I want to scale in order to get to the numbers that I plan on getting to by, 2025. And I think that is important because if you're not thinking about that, in advance, then all of a sudden it sneaks up on you. 2022 is right here. So, if I hadn't been thinking about this ahead of time, then ramping into it would be really, really difficult. And so then for me, it's easier to start thinking about what are the pieces that I don't absolutely have to be involved in, right? What are the pieces that don't provide that somebody else could easily do that I don't need to do? So,
yeah. I think that thought process is exactly what we do on our end. Maybe a little bit different in who's doing what, but definitely, where is your time most valuable and what is your least valuable thing that you can just hand off so that you're constantly stacking? And I think, especially when you're getting into the scaling conversation, there's not necessarily a right or wrong answer. It's what are you comfortable with? What kind of service and business do you want that's fulfilling? And I know for me, like there's certain things that I really like to do in the agency and certain things that don't. Some of the things that I don't like to do that I should do could probably, make you scale faster, but I don't like it. And so then maybe that would slow me down. You know what I mean? So there's so many factors when it comes into that.
But I think you bring up a really good point, and I think that this is true of both industries. And I say that I love being a real estate agent because you can write your own rules in a lot of ways. And I mean, obviously, in terms of the entrepreneurship, right? Like how you build your business, and so there isn't necessarily a wrong way. And when you're doing something that you really enjoy doing, you're not really working, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
that's why I try to gravitate to the things that come natural to me, the things that bring me joy, because I don't really know. My husband will say sometimes, he's like, gosh, you work like 60 hours a week. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not really working, So,
Right.
but I will say this, and the thing that agents tend to want to farm out the most are the things that we really do need to hang on to. And that's the business development side of it. That's the piece. Those relationships are important. And that's why I have a hard time letting go, because I've worked so hard to build the relationships that bring in the referrals and bring in the leads. And so I don't want to get let that go.
Yeah.
Yep.
What would you say your superpower is?
Talking.
Like us.
I I can talk.
So
I have no trouble with that.
as you meet agents, insurance agents, realtors coming into the world of sales or the world of entrepreneurship, what do you think the most important thing that you could impart to them as they enter this new world? And everything's crazy now, that would help them the most?
I'll tell you, I think it would be, managing your calendar, right? And it's so important at all times, right? So in the early days, you have more time than money, and you have to earn the right to spend money, right? So everyone wants to go in and just throw money at leads or throw money at marketing, but you don't have any money, you haven't made any money yet. So use your time wisely. On Sunday or Monday morning, you look at your calendar, and if it is not filled up with activity, fill it up with activity, right? And so that's, everyone needs insurance, everyone needs a house, right? So just go meet people. Just go start talking, what we always do is really, look at building our database, right? How are you building your database? And you're not building your database by sitting in your house or, having coffee by yourself or whatever. So get into the routine of filling up that calendar. And so you can always, cross things off if you need to. But what ends up happening is you become disciplined to managing your calendar. As your calendar starts legitimately filling up with appointments, you don't become a slave to the whims of the clients, right? So if you're dedicated to your calendar and somebody calls and says, well, I've got to meet right now, you can say, well, let me look at my calendar. I have an appointment. How about we meet at 9 tomorrow or 2 tomorrow, or when I have availability, right? So you've conditioned yourself to really manage that. And it helps. I look at people, I don't know if this is true of you guys, but I look at experienced people that are running ragged. And I think, why are you running ragged? It's because they are just saying yes to everything and not really managing, their life to a calendar.
Right. Yeah. They're in a state of reactivity instead of proactive.
Right.
And then you're just, you're on the hamster wheel.
I'm with Keller Williams, and they have, they train this idea that you should take, I think it's 1 day off a week, 1 3-day weekend a month, and 1 7-day vacation a quarter. And you start your year by marking all of that off on your calendar. So that's the first thing you put on your calendar. It's kind of the same concept of you put money into savings first, right? And then you pay the bills and you do all of the other things. Well, that's what you're doing is that. And so your calendar is now booked.
Yeah.
So,
there's nothing more valuable than time. So paying yourself some good time is a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is it that like booking up the calendar or doing the things that actually move the needle, the last thing on the list that we do when there's all this other stuff to do? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's the one thing that really does push us or drives us. It's the fuel for the car, but we get in the car and we just tinker around with everything. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just crazy.
I actually build in time I build fart around time in, like, like the time to just kind of be creative and just let my brain. So that way, because I will go on a rabbit trail, I mean, in a heartbeat, like I will, oh, that looks interesting. Let me read that, whatever. So what I've started with, and I'm not as intensely disciplined to this as I should be, but I do know that I can just move. Okay, that looks interesting. Let me move that to a side because I know I have a couple of hours over here dedicated to just letting my brain run free. Right.
Yep. That's so funny that Craig and my biggest, we are just always a million things. So
squirrel.
Yes. Me too. I got that from, I don't know. There's an author named Daniel Pink who is a favorite of mine. And I think it was Drive was the name of the book, but he actually introduced that concept of, introducing 20% of your work time should be creative. And so whether that's 20% of a day or 20% in a week, but actually big companies like Google and FedEx, they actually mandate that, or according to Daniel Pink. So that, I read that years ago when I was at Bank of America and thought, oh yeah, I should really do that. And so I started.
Well, it's just staying disciplined in the calendar, right? Block out the 2 hours of creativity because we all know you're only working 25% of the day anyway. I mean, it's at the end of the day, out of 8 hours, most employees are only going to be effective for about 25%. So it's just the way it is, right? They get up, they're over at the cooler. I mean, we goof around. It just happens. So
that's exactly right. And or the other thing too is we always talk about like, well, when you're in the shower or in your car and you have all of these great ideas flying at you, right? It's because your brain isn't thinking about anything. It's like down, and you can, now I really can think about, I have some creative energy and all of these great ideas. Well, those great ideas are things that can actually, I've had some great epiphanies, and they can really, help give you a nice jump in your business. So you don't want to ignore that.
Yep. So as we're diving into the early part of 2022, what would be the number one piece of advice you give anybody in real estate or insurance, mortgage, whatever? What would you give them as the number one piece of advice to implement this year?
Have a plan.
Yeah.
If you didn't have a plan ready already, would you say that?
Yes. Well, I mean, there's so many like really like obnoxious quotes about, not having a plan is a plan to fail, and, hope can't be your strategy and all of that good stuff. But the reality is it's so true. I mean, if you have a goal, first of all, maybe we should back it up and just say, what is your goal, right? If you don't have a goal and a roadmap on how you're going to get to that goal, then what are you even doing?
Right.
But a lot of entrepreneurs don't think like that. It's interesting. And more importantly, they may know, or they may have an idea where they want to go and maybe even how they want to get there, but then they don't know how to track the activities that they're doing in order to ensure that they're going to be successful in that. And so I think that, the first thing is that really have a plan.
Have the plan, track and measure.
Yeah, have a plan.
Got to track and measure.
Love it.
Yes.
Trudy, where can people get a hold of you if they want more Trudy? TruDat.
If they want to text you on your cell phone, what is those digits?
Those digits are 904-516-9084.
That is
crazy.
Go. Realtors always give out their phone numbers.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to start giving out Craig's phone number.
Yeah. It's 520-214-2219.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, we're not in protection program or anything, so we kind of want people to get a hold of us. We like and I like to talk.
Yeah.
Yep.
Remember, that's my superpower. Call me.
It is. Well, thank you so much, Trudy, for joining us on the Insurance Dudes. It's been awesome, and we'll catch up with you down the road.
I appreciate it. Enjoyed it.
Thanks, Trudy.
Hey, Jason.
Yes, Mr. Craig.
That was another awesome episode, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if people want to get a little bit more action and learn how to write $100,000 in premium off of even the worst internet leads, where could they go?
they can go to live.teledudes.com.
Ooh, that sounds exciting. Are we going to be there?
Yes, it's a weekly call that we're doing right now it's live, and it will show you the process. The entire process is super awesome.
I love it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Sign up right now, live.teledudes.com.
Live.teledudes.com. That's live.teledudes.com.
Hey, Craig, there's a new community that we are starting that I cannot wait to tell everybody about. It is our live texting community where you and I are going to answer people's questions and give them free content, right?
Are you kidding me? We get to talk to them?
Yeah, which is awesome, but they have to opt in. They have to text us at 520-214-2219. That's 520-214-2219.
Nice.
Craig, are you going to respond to these texts?
I'm going to respond to them for sure. Live.
I'm into it too. It's going to be awesome. And it's going to be our new texting community where we're going to get back to everybody that we can and drop some crazy content, free content, and free the calculator that you just came up with. That's right. The calling calculator, sales material. I mean, everything for insurance agents. This is it. It's the best texting community out there for insurance agents.
Well, what the heck is that number again? I can't remember it.
It's 520-214-2219. That's 520-214-2219.
I love it. I'm going to text it right now.
520-214-2219.
All right. I'll see you later, Mr. Jason.
Bye, Mr. Craig.
Wait, do they even listen to this on the radio anymore?
I love it. I love it.
Nice.
All right.